Hey mi gente, today we are going to talk about Joseph Antonio Cartanera, aka Fat Joe. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the Bronx natives N-word usage, which by the way, I do not tolerate it, I do not like it. I'm going to explain more in detail in this video. I'm also going to be talking about more things related to Fat Joe, especially when it comes to him trying to come into blackness when he feels like it and then come out of it when he doesn't feel like it, which is a common theme for non-black Hispanics. Yes, I'm calling you out in today's video. Enjoy. Before any of you delusional people try to argue with me in the comment section, we're going to start off by talking about Fat Joe's ethnicity, nationality, and race. Fat Joe's ethnicities are Cuban and Puerto Rican. His nationality, he's American. He was born and raised in the Bronx, New York City. And Fat Joe's race. Okay. Let's see the picture of Fat Joe and his family, aka his mom and dad. This is the picture, guys. You guys can see it. Tell me, what do you see? Do you see someone who's black? Biracial? If the answer is no, thank you for answering. Thank you. Yes, the answer is no. It is clear. It is clear to me that Fat Joe is mostly white, maybe some indigenous, and a tiny bit of African ancestry. And before anyone tries to debate with me, look at his parents. Look at his parents. We're gonna keep the same energy, just like how we were talking about DNA a few months ago. We're going to keep the same energy with Fat Joe and his family. Clearly, they not black. His mom and dad. It's the truth. They at most maybe mixed race. And when I say mixed race, I'm talking about with white and indigenous heritage. I'm going to say this right here, right now. There's nothing wrong being you. And in this case, Fat Joe has not been himself for quite some time. Fat Joe, he has been claiming that he's black and that he could say the N-word just because all Latinos are black.
Spanish drums, all the music is African music. So, you know, you getting on the Afro beat now. I've been in Africa. They've been doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? It ain't new. All the music is African. You know what I'm saying? But you're right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even in Puerto Rico, when you go to Caribbean, like...
Let's speak about Latinos not being black. Latinos are black.
In Cuba, at one time, there was 8 million Cubans. 5 million, unfortunately, were slaves. 3 million were actual Cubans. And they integrated and had babies. Same thing with Puerto Rico. When you go to Loíza, and when you talk about Santeria, that came from the motherland, Africa. You know.
Sometimes Latinos might even identify themselves with African and black culture more than black people.
Which is not true. Being 2% black doesn't make you black. Being 5% black doesn't make you black. Being 10%, 20%, 25%, 30% does not make you black. It does not. Once again, you are what your parents are. And for what I see, Fat Joe is not black. And that is fine. My issue is when people like Fat Joe try to come into blackness knowing that they're not black. Just because they want to say the N-word. Just because they want to culturally appropriate from black culture. A few weeks ago, somewhere around September, Jaru and Fat Joe had a versus battle, and Fat Joe, he said the N-word numerous times. He even said it in his songs. He also even said it in a way to express the audience members. And mind you, majority of the audience members, they were black. They were black people. Yes, he was calling black audience members the N-words. Ugh, yeah. He even called Ja Rule the N-word on the stage. I'm going to be very, very honest with you guys. I do not feel sorry for Ja Rule to be called the N-word when it comes to Fat Joe, because Ja Rule, he has a history of allowing non-black Latinos to be saying the N-word, and he's ignorant too. Like, he generalizes all Latinos in the same category, and we're not all the same.
You know what I'm saying? So
then Fat Joe, he also called Vita and Lil Mo, I believe it was crackhead bees, on the Verzuz battle. And when you think about it, this is not something new when it comes to Fat Joe. Fat Joe, he has a lengthy history always coming for black women. And if you guys do not know that, I'm going to include a clip where Fat Joe was trying to convince Kat. You know what? Here's the clip.
The black women, you know what I mean? Black women are the essence of this creation, and that's why it endures. That's why it's special at all. Is because of that.
So the black woman. So you're not. I can see Cat Williams with a white girl.
No, you couldn't, and you haven't ever. You should knock it up. It's not because I can't, and it's not because of anything to them. It's not that. It's that when I was coming up, when I was reading the books of what would mess up the people in the entertainment business.
Comedian Cat Williams, he was talking to Fat Joe on Fat Joe's podcast. Fat Joe was trying to tell Cat to say he loves all women instead of him just say he loves black women. And Cat, he didn't change his statements at all. He kept it the way he kept it the way he said it. Basically, he said what he said. And I appreciate Cat for keeping it real with Fat Joe. What's more crazy about this whole thing is, wait a minute, Fat Joe, he's black, right? So let's talk about this. Why would Fat Joe not be happy for Cat to be admiring black women if he's black himself? My point. And that's because Fat Joe knows he's not black. He divides himself from being Latino and being black. And you can't do that. You could be both. You could be both. But Fat Joe is not both of them. He's not both. And let's be real. You guys really think Fat Joe is going to keep the same energy when it comes to Latinas? Like, let's just say Fat Joe was talking to Kat and the Kat was admiring non-black Latinas or non-black women in general. Do you guys think Fat Joe was going to silence him? I hope you guys say no. Now, Remy Ma, oh my god. Remy Ma has been defending Fat Joe's N-word usage for years, yeah. She has been excusing him, and she even did it numerous times publicly. One of them was when she was on Joe Budden's podcast, I believe. It was his podcast. She excused him and said that Fat Joe, he could say the N-word because he's black. He's black. Remy Ma is just like Ja Rule, excusing non-black Latinos to be saying the N-words. Disgusting. Speaking of women, I want to touch on this a tiny bit. I've noticed that when it comes to non-black women versus non-black men saying the N-word, non-black women get more crucified and more troubles saying the N-words versus non-black men. They could get away with it sometimes, or sometimes they do get in trouble, but it's not the same as when a non-black woman says it. Have you guys noticed how when non-black Latinas get called out for saying the N-word, there's more judgment, there's more cancellations, there's more like, you know what, you gotta stop it because you gotta stop it right now. Versus when it comes to non-black Latinos, it's alright, it's cool, they could say it, it's a part of the hood, it's this, is that, you know, they make all these stupid ass excuses, and it's so crazy. Like, we gotta keep the same energy, when it comes to both genders. One prime example I could give quickly is when Jennifer Lopez, she was called out for saying the N-word in I'm Real, and the backlash was very crazy. Even though stupid Ja Rule, he allowed Jennifer Lopez to say the N-word, it still wasn't okay for Jennifer Lopez to say it. We all know that. People were more harsher on Jennifer Lopez when she said the N-word. But it's crazy because that was back in 2001. But they allowed Fat Joe, Big Pun. I could name a bunch of other people that are men, that are non-black Latinos, but we're not going to do that here. But the point is, they allowed them to say the N-word. Now we are on concluding statements. I have come to a conclusion that non-black people should not be saying the N-words. Yes, both N-words, and there's other N-words as well, especially in Latin America. Some people may say it's a term of endearment, whereas some people find it offensive when non-black Latinos say it. I do not care how much you love your family member or members, your friend or friends, or even your spouse, and you tried to excuse them from saying the N-words. I'm not gonna make this an obligation, but if you do not like something, you have to address it. People do not understand how deeper this topic is. It's deep, especially in Latin America. Latin America, there's colorist and racist people. We all know America, it's definitely in the top. I'm grateful for this generation to be more self-conscious. I can't even blame also the older generation, because there's a lot of people who are older and they never were a fan of the non-black people saying the N-word thing. Never, especially non-black Latinos. But if you read some articles and stuff like that, you would believe that they were a fan of that, and that's not true. What happened was, since there was a different timing and people trying their hardest to try to not fight, you would thought that people didn't care back then, but that's false. People do care. There were some people that care. And even now, there's people that are older that be calling people out. And one of them is Fat Joe. A lot of older generations called out Fat Joe, saying that he's not supposed to say the N-word. No pressure though, guys. I'm not pressuring none of you guys. If you're black, biracial, I'm not pressuring you. And when I say biracial, by the way, I'm talking about mixed with black, okay? But anyways, I'm not going to be pressuring black, no biracial, no mixed with black people on trying to talk to their family members or spouses or friends about. I mean, of course, if you want to, you should. I do think you should, especially if you do not like it. You should address it. You shouldn't be uncomfortable, especially with your own friends. Your friends should be the main people to understand you, and your family, especially your family and your spouse, they should understand you, and you should be allowed to correct it. And personally, to me, if they do not agree with you and they still want to be using the N-words, I'm sorry, you go ahead and just cut them off. I mean, family is harder, but a spouse, it's easy, maybe, depending how much you love the person, of course. And friends is definitely easy. I mean, of course, it's gonna take some time, but if it continues and you keep telling them, you know you gotta stop saying this, you know you gotta stop saying this, you know you gotta stop saying this, and they continue, cut them off. 911 actor Ryan Guzman, he made a valid point, even though he got called out for addressing that he used the N-word before. But he did make a valid point in his statement, which I'm going to read to you guys. Ryan Guzman states,
"People that are coming up to me, keep that same energy for Cardi B. Tekashi 6ix9ine, Fat Joe, all them Latinos have been using for years upon years and getting passes.
He's right, but he should have said non-black Latinos, but at least he said it. Thank you so much if you made it this far. Comment. Thank you and